Right. Well, I think we'll get started. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather and technically on vacation, so I want to get this started so we can enjoy the rest of our Fridays and then roll into the weekend. So, again, thanks everybody for taking the time to be here. As always, feel free to use the chat, questions, any of those things as they come up. This format's going to be a little bit different, so because I'm going to be running things on my iPad, and I'm going to jump over and show off our Revizto site as well. I kind of want to talk about some of the similarities and some of the differences between them, but overall, I just kind of want to run through what the tools are and kind of how to interact with them. So as always, housekeeping, we're going to be recording this. You're automatically registered for the last event, which will be in 2 weeks. And then you'll have access to all the recordings. Quite Q&A. Future webinars are at Revizto on LinkedIn. And then if you guys want to connect with me, if we haven't already, there's my handle for LinkedIn. There's my beautiful mug one more time. And I will start sharing. Let me move this out of the way. Let me share my iPad first. All right. So iPad app in front of us. What you'll notice is this is going to look very, very, very similar to the desktop version of our software. The only thing that's missing up there is going to be Clash automation, and that's just something that we don't run on the iPad itself. Again, we already kind of talked about how I navigate inside of the software. That doesn't change when I get to the iPad. And I think one of the nice things about how I navigate in the tool on the PC is that directly correlates to the iPad as well. So, again, I'm going to go to the map tool to get to the level that I want to be on. And if I'm on level 2, I'm on level 2. I'm just 2-finger pinching and dragging right now. Double tap, I'm in the room, right? And I can do things like, just one right finger to kind of look around. Let's say I did want to go up. That's a 2-finger, press to kind of go up and down and to pan around. One of the other icons down at the very bottom of the screen there, it looks like a gyroscope. It's got like interlocking circles and some other stuff. But if I turn that on, you'll kind of see that highlight down there at the bottom. If I turn that on, I can then move my iPad, and you'll see that as I move the iPad, it's kind of changing what I'm looking at in the model itself. So this can be super handy, especially if you're out in the field and you got some field users out there that kind of want to get to a location and don't want to have to move around a little bit. I think it's called, what do we call that? I forget what the name of it is. But, having them turn that on, gives them the ability to just like move the iPad around instead of having to, maybe fumble around with their fingers. Again, I mean, the other way I'm doing that is I'm going to be jumping in from 2D. Again, all of this is all going to be the same, right? So I can search all of this stuff out. I can search for content on the drawings. I can do all the things. If I double tap there, I can open up the drawing. And the same thing applies. I have the ability to section cut over the top of the building. If I go back to 2D, right, I can do jump to 3D. I want to zoom in and I want to be in this room. I can do that and then double tap, and then I'll be inside of that room there. Turn off my section cut there, right? And then I'm able to do things like that. As far as getting property information, all this stuff's going to be selectable. If I double tap on it, it's going to bring up the properties panel for me there on the left-hand side or wherever you have that docked to. Say you wanted to select multiple objects, you could do that. If I just press and hold down on an object, right there at the very bottom of that dialog, you're going to see enter multi-select mode. And that's going to allow me to select multiple objects just by tapping on them. And then I can exit out of there. And then if I do a long press, I can say hide those objects from view. If I want to go back, there is a back button down there at the bottom left, and I can bring those walls back if I need to. So that's just how you would hide walls if you were like, hey, I just need to see these walls moved, anything like that. you do have access to all of your appearance profiles, all of your search sets, measuring, section cutting, all those things, creating issues. So nothing really changes between the desktop and the iPad app. As far as like general functionality is concerned, it just comes down to like how you're going to navigate through the software. And again, I would just recommend going and using the map tool or jumping in from 2D. Or if you want, you can navigate around. Left thumb on the screen is going to be like to drive. The right one is going to be how I'm going to look around. I would probably say to go into your preferences and then go to navigation and then really focus on your inertia speeds and stuff here. You can start zooming pretty fast. This is what's worked for me. Doesn't work for everybody, I get that, but this is kind of where the sensitivity is right for me. So you can go in there and fine tune all of that for yourselves. And again, you do have your object tree. So if you wanted to isolate out a file, you could do that. Property information search sets, all that stuff is created there. One thing I do want to point out though is, like, let's say we're just going to draw an issue and we'll say this is just a field observation, and I'm going to put that right there, right? So I have that. Now if I go to I want to mark this up. Let's say I just want to put a circle around this. And then I have the ability to get the camera up there and take a live picture, right? And then I can use that photo, and that's going to go directly into the chat for the issue as well, right? So, that's super handy when you're out in the field, right? So really good use case of an iPad or even the phone for that matter is going to be when you're walking around and you see damages or you see maybe it's a safety issue and you just want to document it quickly and just say, hey, like I found this, this ledge doesn't have the right kick plate on it or something along those lines, right? So those are different ways that you guys can document things for yourselves and even bring up bigger issues down the line that may need to have, either safety input or, maybe it's going to be a schedule issue, right? You're scheduled to go in and you're scheduled to do this work in this room, but there's no ceiling, so you can't hang anything. Right, so go in, take a picture, say no access, whatever. Well, however you wanted to document that, and then it becomes part of the project history, right? So there's a lot of different ways that this can be used out in the field, not just from the general contracting side of things, but also at the subcontracting level, to really help paint the whole picture of what's going on the project. So from there, again, you have all the same functions and features that you would have, within the issue tracker itself. I can, add comments here into the chat. Nice picture. I can't spell this morning. Nice pictures with a little, smiley face deal there. It's in. I can then, change the assignee of that issue, change the priority, all the things that we've already kind of talked about, right? What you're going to notice on an iPad is you're going to run out of real estate really fast. So these quick toggles to bring everything back and forth in and off the screen is going to be really helpful for you. So, the one that I'm using for the issue tracker itself is the far right, just below my name. If that toggles things back and forth, or I can just bring up, individual panels if I need to. And again, you're still going to have the ability to jump to 3D, have the ability to jump to 2D, get the map view, where you're at, those types of things, right? So all that's relatively unchanged between the two softwares. Again, if we go to 3D, if I can click on it, again, if I just select it on an object or double tapped on it, right, I get all my property information there. This is all, again, this is going to be searchable, to whatever criteria it is that you're looking for. So you'll be able to have access to all of that as well. And I do have a keyboard attached to mine. I can actually take that off and just show, I guess, what it would look like. Right, you would get the keyboard that would pop up on your screen. Right, and then you can filter that way. So I'm gonna connect that back to my keyboard. Any questions about the iPad, something specifically that you guys may have run into or something you'd like to be able to do on the iPad that maybe you've struggled with before I kind of jump over into the phone app? You can put those in the chat or the Q&A. It doesn't really matter. No, okay. Let's see if I can switch over to this without. I'm gonna jump over to the phone. Hopefully this does this. Awesome, it did it. Perfect. All right, so right now we're in the Revizto site app. And what you'll see here is normally when you first jump into the project, what you're going to see is a project gallery of all of your all of your projects that you have access to. So you can scroll through these, you can search by name, you can do whatever you need to do there. But I'm just going to go back into this one again. With that more button down there at the bottom right hand side there, we do have preferences. So you have things like navigation. Again, this is where you're going to find your inertias and things of that nature for when you're flying around and all that stuff. Graphics, you can change the graphics on there. And again, like I've said before, one of the only things that really matters is down there is that double-sided materials, just to make sure that everything's rendering correctly. Yeah, so those are, there's other things inside of preferences. You have, you can log into integrations here. If there's any, if you guys have any box or Procores or anything on there, you can log in here as well. So right out the gate, you're going to see issue tracker here. So let's just go into one of these issues. Down along the bottom there, first you're going to see the snapshot there, right? You can go to info, and this is going to be all of it, where you're going to reassign things or change priorities, add watchers, edit any tags, right? And it's also going to have that metadata down there at the bottom. Next is going to be the chat. So you'll see this chat feature pop up. We can just type in here. You can use voice to text if you have that available. That works as well in the app. I'm on markup there. You can view this on a 2D drawing. You can turn off all the other stamps to this issue, or I can see all the other issues that are in the area. I'm on, again, you can go to 3D. From here, you'll see this is a clash issue. So it's, it's going to be kind of tied to this, section box. But if I wanted to turn that off, I can just turn off the scissors. That'll get rid of my sectioning. And then if I don't want to have this isolated anymore, I don't have to, or I can hit the next one over, which is just going to isolate the clash by itself. And then we have the, toggle transparency. And I really like this one. And I don't know if I showed this off before, but this has saved me a lot of time, especially with sprinkler heads. I could never really figure out what was clashing with these really small objects, right, inside of other software, and having the ability to toggle what's going to be opaque and what's transparent really saved me a lot of time from having to find that really teeny tiny little element that was clashing. The next thing is that we do gyroscope. That's what that icon's called. So we do have the gyroscope on the phone as well, right? So we have the ability to do that. You can measure, lots of different things here that we can do. And right now we're just inside of the issue tracker itself. So this is all the things that you have the ability to look at when you're inside of the issue tracker. Okay, so we're going to jump over next to 2D. And right there at the top left there, if I keep going back, I can get a list of all the drawings that are on the project, right? And again, this is all searchable. I recommend using searches everywhere you can. If I go to level 2 drawing, I can open that up. I can turn off all the pins, right? And then I can look and see look at the floor plan here. And all I'm doing is pinching and pulling here, and then one finger dragging across in order to move that drawing, right? So we can measure inside of here as well. So you could do like a straight line measurement, off the grid line, for example. don't know why it's not coming in straight, but there's that. We do also have the square footage. You can get a square foot measurement, or you could do polylines. Or angles, right? So we have the ability to do all that measuring right there on the phone. The next is going to be the next icon over is the 2D, 3D screen split. So what we can do is we can activate that button. And then from there, I can go and I can just tap around in the 2D drawing to teleport myself to a new location inside of the model, which is not rendering for some reason. So now I'm in that learning office. And what's really nice about this is, again, right, I'm not having to navigate from area to area. I'm just kind of dragging this sheet over and saying I want to be in this location. And I go back to the split and it shows me that I'm in that location. And another thing is, that you see that directional kind of thing coming off the dot, right? That shows me which direction I'm facing, which is also really handy. Especially if inside of rooms and things of that nature that don't have, defining marks like this room I'm in right now. It's kind of hard to tell which direction you're facing. So I really like having that feature right there just to be able to do that. We already talked about the gyroscope that is available in 3D as well. Again, measuring, creating issues. And again, this is going to be the same as I just showed on the iPad, but field observation maybe is what I'm looking for there. So field observation, I can, move that around, get done. Right here, I have the ability to, take a picture again. Use the photo, right? Then from there, I can, mark it up. Good looking dude. Okay. And then, create the issue from there. So again, just, things to use this for out in the field is, again, it's just going to be the ease of use to get to the location that you want to be in, or the location potentially that you're walking in. So if you were doing a second floor walk, you could have this drawing open, and as you're walking around, you could say, hey, I got a problem right here inside of this office. And then I could do my 2D, 3D overlay. Create an issue inside of this room quickly on the fly. Maybe I needed to point it up at the ceiling because that's where the issue is, for example. So there's just a lot of different, ways that this can be used out in the field, especially since, we're not going to be lugging around a computer typically. I mean, sometimes we'll have laptops out there, I guess, but, just really being able to have all of this at your fingertips, whether that be with an iPad or with a phone. And the other thing to note, and something I haven't really talked about, is that we do have, let me go back to 3D more. And then if I go to, right here. So download for field. That's a feature that will allow you to cache the entire project to your device. So that'll be your iPad, your computer, or your phone. And what that'll allow you to do is to go off of the internet or out of cellular. So if you guys are on, dark sites or whatever you want to call them, you'll still have access to the entire project along with all the drawings and the issues. And then when you come back and you connect back to internet or cellular, the issues that can be updated through the cloud will be updated automatically. And if any other updates were made, you can sync at that point and get the latest information. So so you don't have to worry about, having internet on the job or Wi-Fi or, even cellular at that point. You just have the ability to just download the project and just go out to the field and do your job. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can toggle on your issue pins as you're flying through. You can turn on your grid lines. Again, this is like, how you want to see the grid lines below you, above and below you, fixed to a certain level, those types of things. I've gone through the more thing. You do have access through those 3 dots in the top side there, and 3D side of things. You have viewpoints, rooms. You can select which models to load and unload, and you have access to your appearance templates here as well on the phone. If we jump over to 2D, yeah, there's no additional text menu there. I didn't think there was, but I just wanted to make sure. You know, if there's markups on the drawing, you can turn those markups on so you can see them as you're looking at the drawing. You can halftone the drawing so those pop out a little bit more if you want to. Turn those off. And again, you can create issues on the fly right here. Anything like that. I just want to make sure that there's nothing else inside of here that I really wanted to talk about as far as preferences are concerned. Selection color. You can change your selection color here. Same as on the 5.13 and later, I guess. You can change the selection color of what you're selecting in the model. You know, so if that duct blue doesn't necessarily meet your needs, you can change that color. So when you select on things, you can do that. You know, other things are is when you select on an object, you have the ability to then cut a section to it directly, or you can hide it, or you can get the properties of it. Right. Again, this is all going to be searchable. Create an issue directly on that object itself. Yeah, just create an issue, or you have, you know, you can isolate that object, isolate in transparency, change the color, change the transparency of it. So pretty much everything that you could do within reason on the iPad app or on the phone app, or I'm sorry, on the computer app. You know, you can figure out a way to do it on the phone. Where was the 2D 3D split? Can I show it again? Yeah, Ursula, sure. So right now I'm in 3D. I can activate the 2D 3D split right now. It's the 2D. Well, let me go back. So it's this 2D divided by 3D. So 2D 3D split right there. That'll activate it. And then from there, I can touch on the 2D drawing to go to that location. Otherwise, if I'm in 2D, I also have that option there. So right there where it says split mode, the 2D, 3D, I can activate it right there as well. So I can activate it from either way. Turn off my grids because those drive me crazy. Let's see. So navigation in general. Let's see. I don't believe so, Orchelon. And the reason is just because of the iOS, the limitations that are tied to iOS. Even you know, Mac does not run our Clash. So even if you were a Mac user, you'd have to have a Windows emulator of some kind to run Clash. Yeah, so as far as navigation, say you did want to go and run around, you can, you know, press and hold down the screen and then, you know, move around as you want to move that way. Again, the 2-finger pan is kind of like standard. You can zoom in and out by, you know, pinching in and out, right? And then if I double tap and let me get to a better location here. Let me go back to my home view. Let me go back to my home viewpoint there. Here. So if I tap and then tap again and hold, it should be able to enter orbit, right? So I can orbit around objects as well. So zoom in and out. You can hold and then fly. You can pan like this, and then if you do the double tap, hold, and drag, then you can do an orbit around. I think that's it. That's all of it. We kind of talked a little bit about you know, the object stuff. Yeah, so just tapping on it does that. You know, I can do, and then brings up this sub menu here to give you some options of kind of what you want to do there, along with these other ones. And I think we already touched on that. So it's on. Right. When you sync, is there a way to not have the camera go back to the home view? You think? Are you talking about on the Gabby? Are you talking about on the desktop, or are we talking about on like the mobile device? I know we should have had an update that came out a while ago that took care of that. Because hold on, I'll have to open up the desktop app in the background here just to see, but I wonder, is this something that has just started happening for you, Gabby, or is this something that has just been persistent? Okay, for a while. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if that's happening to me. I'm happy to have, you can send me an email and I'm happy to try to dig down and figure out what's going on there. But as far as I knew, I thought that was something that we had taken care of in the past. I'm just looking through the settings quickly on the app, but I'm not seeing where that would be. Yeah, just send me an email and I will here, I'll even put my email in the chat for you. Well, you can send me that email. Oh, that's not to the correct chat. Everyone. Okay. Yeah, so sorting Orchelon is something that we're definitely actively talking about. It's something that we know needs to happen in more locations. So I don't know 100% if it's on the roadmap, but I know it's something that we're definitely talking about in all over the application. Back over here. Yeah, so I mean, is there any other questions? Anything else that's burning that you'd want to know about today? All right. Well, it looks like up next is going to be part 6, and this is entitled PM's Guide to the Galaxy. So this is going to be more for reporting and dashboarding and how to get the most out of that. That's all going to be web-based, having that conversation. But there's some setup stuff we can do in the issue checker that's really going to help leverage some of these reports that we can get out. Then we're also going to be diving into tracking progress, gain clarity and increase accuracy on the project. So. Not to say that, if you're not a PM, you're not going to get something out of it. There's definitely going to be something for everybody here. But yeah, so really looking forward to that. How can I access the other videos on demand? Deidre, can you answer Daniel's question and how we're getting the videos out from the past 5 or the 4 previous recordings? No pressure, Deidre. No pressure. There we go. So those are the links in the chat there. If you guys wanted to go back and watch those. you can click on those links and they should take you right to them. Thanks, Deidre. Yeah, so if you want to contact us, revisto.com, help.revisto.com is our help center. Me, LinkedIn at Corey Clasen, Revizto, LinkedIn at Revizto. And again, Rev Up is coming March 18th through the 20th next year, Denver, Colorado. I know I've said this before, I'll say it again. This really is a great conference. You know, lots of people come together from our global team, as well as global people from all over the world will be there, talking about how they're using Revizto, what's going on their construction job sites, those types of things. So really a fun time, really good place to be, learn about what's going on with Revizto and how people are using it. And thanks everybody again for taking their time on their Friday to spend a few minutes with me, and have a great one.